Welcome back to the G Spot with your boy, Gangsta Guri, Cool Guri, whatever you want to call me. I really don't care. As I always said, I love to have a little bit of music in the background as I do these types of videos, just to give you the opportunity to release maybe some energy that, may be riding on you, don't even realize it. This specific frequency is to allow you to let go of negative thoughts, fear, unwanted emotions, and behavior. The reason why I chose this one today is mainly because, so today is 12/12. So those of you into numerology know 12/12 is a big number. Today is actually a day where you should be taking some time to breathe. I think that's like the most important thing I want you to think about right now, like taking some time to breathe. I want to read something. I love this website called Forever Conscious. If you've never been to Forever Conscious before, I would say check it out. But it's talking about basically this year, for the past 12 months, we have been experiencing a change. Every 12 months, year changes. We already know this. And we go through so many different things. And today is a day where I want you to take a step back. And I really want you to think about all the positive that has come to your forefront and been in your reality this year. We always love to focus on the things that are not so awesome. We always want to focus on the things that stick out to us as being somewhat traumatic or just a little problematic. What I really want you to think about today and take some time to breathe through it is how far you've come in a year, the changes that you've made for the better, and just make sure that you are showing yourself love while giving others love. I think that's like one of the main things that you can gain from that. If you want to read a little bit more about it, you can go to Forever Consciousness website. This is a free plug. They did not ask me to do this. I'm just doing it because I love to share. Anyway, so today, really quickly, the other day, I was on the gram, and I was just asking, well, what would you like to hear me talk about if I'm going to be on this channel? Like, obviously, if I'm going to be here, I want to make sure that I'm not just talking about shit that matters to me. I want to make sure that I'm talking about shit that matters to everybody, because I know that things that matter to me matter to others, may not, so you can pick and choose what you want to watch. But this one I thought was really interesting as it came up, especially at the place that I'm in my life right now. So it's actually talking about the dynamics of friendships, how they change as you get older, and then also throwing in, I guess, that portion of enlightenment. Now, when I think of the word enlightenment, I think of enlightenment in general. I think of just your mindset changing. And that could look different for different people. If you think about it, we grow up, we only know what our family knows. We only know what our parents know and what they instill in us, along with whatever they teach us in school. And whatever we may pick up socially in the street. So that's how we are able to frame our reality, how we act, how we behave towards others, things like that. And you make friends, you make relationships within those confines, within those time frames, based on how you're moving as a person, right? But after a certain point in life, I love to think about it around like 27, 28 is when you start to realize, like, who's really down for you, who's not, who's the bitch I gotta cut, what bitch really be talking shit about me behind my back, and I be having a double, overthink it, like, no need for all of that. We get too old to have to deal with unwanted things. And when you throw in this idea of enlightenment or re-enlightenment, as the person that asked me was talking about, I think of it kind of like the spiritual journey that you go through in your life, where you start to make the decision on what you want to believe, as far as whether it being a higher power, whether that be God, whether that be source, whether that be spirit, whether that be a deity, whatever you decide, and how relationships tend to change during this time. I can only speak from personal experience, so that's what I'm going to do really quickly. What I noticed is that when I started to become more connected to myself, my spirituality, and I named my spirituality as a mixture of different things. I grew up with a Christian background, so I was raised Southern Baptist. Quick story, they put me in church because they found out that I liked boys, and they thought that was going to take the gay away. Sorry to say. Didn't work that way. But anyway, I grew up believing in God, have a praying grandmother. You know, we all got praying grandmothers if you from my era. And so she's still around. Praise the Lord for her being around. But no, I would say that my practices are a mixture of, you know, just general spirituality, a mixture of hoodoo and a mixture of Christian values. I really don't like to put a name on it because it doesn't really matter. But the things that I've become interested in, that I know that if your mother or your grandmother probably heard about it, they would have like a heart attack, like tarot cards and, you know, witch stuff, or I don't even know what you would call it in this case. Anything that has the word witch in it and you add an older person to it, it just turns into a whole fucking mess. But what I noticed is that when I started to re-enlighten myself as far as my path was concerned, the number of people that were around me started to lessen. When I think of the time that I really started getting into like my spirituality, it was something that I had to figure out for myself. And it was something that isolated me in a sense, because I had to relearn, I had to study. If you think about it, like, it's a form of study. It's a form of studying yourself, studying your insides and thinking about what makes you tick, what doesn't, what do you believe in, what do you value, who do you value, why do you value it in that specific time frame. And that takes a lot of work to do on your own. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you want to be in the world as much anymore. Because what I started to notice is that the world is fucking crazy. And the more that I'm out there, it just feels like all that energy is coming towards me, and I just don't have time to deal with that all the time. So I was very selective about, you know, being like, hey, like, let's go meet up, let's go out, you know. Especially living in New York, you know, people love to be out, especially on a Sunday, put on a brunch boot and a bitch be ready to go. But I had to let that go. And I noticed a lot of that time was very, it was very lonely. But I never felt alone. I think that's the beautiful thing about it, because I was able to connect to, you know, my ancestors in different ways, because I was able to study something that meant my spiritual growth, meant my emotional growth, and allowed me to become more of the person that I am today. I think it allowed people that realized I didn't want to inhabit those spaces anymore, give me my space in order to grow emotionally and grow spiritually, I guess you could say. So what I noticed also was that those friends that understood that space became a little, you know, inquisitive. Like, well, what are you doing? I know that I can probably say a good number of the friends that I have started getting into crystals after I introduced them into crystals, because someone introduced it to me. So it's kind of just like, when one person lights you up, you have the opportunity to light others up. And it's a choice on whether or not you want to extend yourself to do such. And everybody's not ready to light up. Everyone's not ready to grow, or not even grow, but allow themselves the change in the space in order to become a different person, a more evolved person. If you think about it, if you're the same person now that you were like 10 years ago, what have you really been doing with your life? What have you really been accomplishing? How have you been feeding yourself spiritually? How have you been feeding yourself emotionally? Because you're stuck in the same pattern, stuck in the same cycle over and over again. And those that don't want to stay in that same space are the ones that choose to light up as you light up. And that's who you can count on to be somewhat of your soul family. Another thing I noticed is that, especially via social media, it became so much easier to find what I like to call my soul family, or my spristas. And shout out to my spristas, my spiritual sisters. I noticed that those people just started appearing a lot more, which led me to believe that I was being covered, and the angels in my life that have always surrounded me or allowing me to meet other people's angels and put them in my life so that way we have our own community and we can share with one another. So I would say that the dynamics of friendships, overall, it changes because the people that don't align with where you are in your life anymore tend to fall off if you're truly dedicated to making that change. And those that want to go along on the journey, that have a place in your life in some kind of way, shape, or form, those are the ones that stay around. Those are the ones that actually are like, oh yeah, like, let me see what you're talking about. And you start to see the change in them. And you're able to share. Hey, email, whatever just came through, whatever. But yeah, I would say that through my re-enlightenment, the number of people who I can have honest conversations with, conversations that have some sort of depth to them, and be able to just speak about where I am in an emotional state in a way that I really never got the opportunity to before. I feel like those are the types of people that have started to be a part of my life. And I'm grateful for every single one of them. It's not to say that the ones that aren't on that path aren't still around. It's just the types of conversations we have are different. And they're not as consistent. But I would say don't give up. I would say, people are always going to try to be there. And I would also say don't dull your light because you feel like you have to. I would suggest you continue to do what you feel is right and just follow whatever makes your soul feel like it's on fire. And when you feel that feeling, you know what I mean. It feels like the most exhilarating high ever. So I would just say, no, if a friend is supposed to be there, a friend will be there. And if they're meant to be on your journey as you continue on in life for more than a season, then they will be. Because I know that I have some people in my life that I'm grateful for that too. But anyway, that's just my word for today. Don't be scared to let people go. People have their seasons for reasons. And that's where I'm going to leave it at. Otherwise, this is the G-Spot with your girl, Gangsta Girl, Guru Girl. And I hope that you all have a wonderful 12/12. Take some time to breathe. Give yourself some love today. Show some love to somebody else. Peace.